Pigmentation disorders are among the most common and misunderstood skin conditions. To treat them efficiently, we must first understand how they are formed and what types we're dealing with, because they're all going to need something a little bit different, a little bit separate. So post-inflammation hyperpigmentation is the common one. Sun-induced spots, so of course we get those in our 40s and 50s. And then of course hormonally triggered melasma. So that one's the tricky one. And we're going to get into all the different forms and how they're formed, and also which products are going to help you minimize those. Your skin's pigment is created by what's called melanocytes, which can overproduce melanin due to inflammation, lots of UV exposure. Even something that happened in your youth will show itself up in your 30s, 40s, and 50s. So be aware of that. This is why we keep talking about SPF. And of course, any type of damage or trauma to the skin, sometimes burning, waxing, picking, trauma, anything like that. So each pigmentation has its unique development, and what's important is to know which products are going to help with those issues. So first and foremost, make sure that you know what you have. And then second of all, we're going to work on what products you're going to use or make sure are in your skincare routine. So that way you're constantly working at them. So the first one we're going to be talking about today is post-inflammation hyperpigmentation. So PIH is typically caused when the skin has excess pigmentation after some sort of inflammation or injury. Things like acne is the most common. That's why we tell people please don't pick, because the picking is going to cause more damage to the cell. The cell is going to reduce some pigmentation, and that's going to take a bit of some time to process through. Then we have burns, which is anything from chemical to mechanical, even something like a friction burn, or overexfoliation and or micro tears. This is really important if you have skin of color. You will literally pigment at the slightest hint of injury. So please make sure that if you are skin of color, you have some form of key ingredients within your skincare routine on a regular basis to help mitigate that. Now, the good news about post-inflammation hyperpigmentation is it will subside and go down over a period of time. Some people can get reduce the inflammation within 3 to 6 months. Some take a little bit longer. Again, it's going to depend on your overall health and wellness of your own skin, how well you're taking care of it, and what active ingredients you're applying to them. But typically, if you don't cause additional injuries or you don't cause additional trauma, this is where acne can be a little bit tricky, is you want to reduce the flare-ups so you don't have to worry about the pigmentation on top of that. So when we're looking at any type of post-inflammation hyperpigmentation, what we're looking for is a routine that is absolutely dominant in some form of vitamin C. Vitamin C is a powerful antioxidant. It also helps to heal the skin by creating more collagen production. Plus, it also helps prevent excess damage against UV rays. That's why typically I love seeing any form of vitamin C in your daytime. This is why vitamin C is excellent, works very, very well. There's different forms of vitamin C, so even if you're hypersensitive to different forms of vitamin C, please go check out my other channels where I talk about all the different forms of vitamin C, so then that way you'll have an idea of which one may be best for you getting started, especially if you're acne. And not only that, I have some awesome options on Shop My Shelf available for you, and I've categorized them as well. So then that way it'll take a lot of the guesswork out of there for you. But for post-inflammation hyperpigmentation, you definitely need some form of vitamin C. The other one you want to look for is niacinamide, anywhere between 5 to 10 max. You can overuse niacinamide, and it's used a lot in skincare formulations. So you don't always need to buy a separate vitamin or niacinamide. Be aware of that. But if you do notice that you need some niacinamide or you don't have it in your ingredient list, then you can add a little bit in. 5% is perfect. You don't need more than that. I know there is that 10% out there on the market, but you can actually cause contact dermatitis by overusing it, which we've seen in the industry. So please be cognizant of that. The other thing is tranexamic acid, which calms inflammation and blocks pigmentation pathways. So I do like this. Again, if you just use it on its own, it will be very helpful. But again, it's not just one ingredient. Typically, if you can find some products that have a combination of ingredients, you'll find that they'll work very well because they have different pathways. This is where azelaic acid is excellent, especially for those who suffer with acne. The one from Paula's Choice is one of my personal favorites just because it has a little bit of salicylic acid, plus it has azelaic 10%, and that works really, really well, that you can add in both day and night, and you can pair it with your vitamin C comfortably. Mandelic acid is also really good. This is really good for skin of color. So if you do have post-inflammation hyperpigmentation, if you don't want to do the azelaic, that's also an excellent option. You can do mandelic as well as retinoids. We need retinoids. That cellular turnover is what's going to help move along that pigmentation within the skin. And remember, pigmentation is deep. It looks superficial, but we've got a lot of layers, and it can be really challenging because you think, well, I've been doing this for several months, but remember, your skin cycles every 30 to 45 days. Like, it really depends, or sorry, pardon me, every 28 to 35 days. If you're older, let's say you're in your 40s and 50s, that cell cycle, so as it comes to, builds the base and comes to the surface of the skin, sheds and moves on, that changes, that slows down. So it's going to take longer for you to see these results if you have any post-inflammation hyperpigmentation. So I hope this information helped to clarify what this is. If you're looking for other options, you also can do personal treatments like professional treatments like microneedling. The Cure system is excellent for that. That's micro damage, as well as any type of brightening serum. Like I've mentioned, combinations are usually your best options. If you do run into any further questions, please make sure you write them down here on the forum. That's what it's here for. I will answer you directly. I answer all questions within usually 24, 48 hours, with the exception of the weekends when I'll be off with my family. So again, if you suffer from post-inflammation hyperpigmentation, fear not. That one is pretty easy to move along. The trick is to make sure that we don't cause new ones. So this is where acne can be challenging. But if you have a little bit, it will eventually soften and move on. Let's talk about, in our next video, more so the sunspot, the sun lesions. Those buggers, they need their own series.